Mums at the Table. You're with Shona and myself, Rachel. We've got lots coming up on the show today. But first of all, a question that everybody seems to ask. So obviously we've never come to a solution on this. What are your best tips for travelling with kids? Like, this is a very topical at the moment. We're heading into holidays. So what you would have travelled with kids.
Yeah.
They're old enough now for you to look back and laugh at your experience while some of us are still scarred.
Yeah.
What are your tips?
Don't do it. She says laughing.
Yes.
Look, I think the best tip is to know your children, know their limits. Don't go travelling great long distances if you've got young children. We travelled overseas with young children. It was not good. We decided at that point we were never going to fly
You weren't
long.
on your own.
Well, it's the two of us and two children. So we decided never doing long haul again with small children. Just lots of food, cushions between children so they don't punch each other out.
Totally agree with the food. That's just not for them. That's for us too.
Yep.
I was so, I guess, confident and ambitious when I had my first daughter. And so I attempted to travel, 10, 11 hours in the car to see my parents-in-law thinking, I've got this. She screamed the whole way. I went insane. Like, I nearly had my own breakdown and I would stop and just cry myself because I'm like, I can't handle this. And it's amazing. Like, you should be able to say, yes, we can travel here and go, but no.
No. And kids have their own agendas. They get tired, they get grumpy, they get sore when they're sitting for so long. So take it in small breaks. Like, we ended up doing, drive for a couple of hours, have a picnic lunch or, stop somewhere.
It's almost like you have to plan for the chaos. You have to plan
Sorry, what was that word again?
Plans, I know, I could barely say it. But you have to plan for those things, and I agree with you. You'd have to take lots of stops. So travelling's not what it was before kids. It's completely different. Plane, trains, or automobiles, all of those things, completely different.
Yep.
So stop lots, have lots of food.
Games.
The toilet stops, my goodness, they're phenomenal. Yeah, so I'm now strategic with when I give them water and when I let them go to the bathroom. I've gotten that bad, it feels terrible. But
write in. Tell us what you do when you're going in for long trips or going on an aeroplane. Tell us.
Hey, if you're just joining us at Mums at the Table, keep it locked right here. Like, share and subscribe because we are going to be talking about developing emotional bonds with children. Why is it so important that we develop emotional bonds and what's it all about?
I think developing emotional bonds with your children is really something that some of us as parents have to relearn. Perhaps we didn't have it with our own parents. It's really just earning the right to talk into your children's lives, develop bonds with your children that even once they're teenagers, they will want to come back to you and spend time with you and ask you about the big stuff.
I know growing up, even, when we look back at our ancestors, it was kind of a generation where as children, we were to be seen but not heard.
Absolutely.
So are we changing the script on that? Are we flipping the script?
I think really it's about recognising that our children have dignity and they have worth. But really, emotional bonds is going to be very different for each child. I've got 3 children and all of my children will have something different that speaks their language. So it's about finding your own child's love language. What speaks to them? And parents often wonder what this magic bullet is. What is it that's going to develop emotional bonds? And I always say to parents, the little things are the big things. So it's the babble in the car while you're driving to soccer. It's the getting down on your child's level at certain times. It's at dinner times. I'm a big fan of family dinners. It's having times when there's no screens and you just tune into your child. I talk about love bomb days where you actually spend time with your child. So my daughter, for example, she's an animal crazy girl. And so for her, it's finding a place where there's horses or animals. My one son, there was a period of time when he and my husband did what we called a beach crawl. And they actually went from beach to beach, jumping in, getting in the car, going to the next beach, jumping in. And so it's finding what your children love that means something to them.
What happens if we don't develop these emotional bonds?
I think really then what we do is we have a rift in our relationship with our children, and then for our children, as I said, the little things are the big things, and we earn the right to speak to them if we take time to notice their chatter about their favourite Pokemon game or whatever it might be. Then we earn the right to have a relationship in some of the bigger topics later on.
And that's what we want.
Absolutely.
That's what you want to have, is those discussions with your children.
Yes.
So that when they're in adults, they come and see you.
Absolutely. And it's in the day-to-day, reading with your children, snuggling up close at bedtime. It's just finding things that speak your child's love language.
It has to start young, right?
Yes.
Well, there you go. I hope that helps you develop emotional bonds with your children.
Okay, topic. Talking separation anxiety. Babies being away from their mums, kids going off to school.
Yes.
So their anxiety of being away from mum, your anxiety about being away from them. Tell me how you coped with it, because I know you would have had a bit of separation anxiety.
When they were babies, absolutely. As they got older, no, not at all. It was really sort of, I think it very helpful for the relationship that they went off to preschool and school. But when they were babies, absolutely. Like, I just wasn't ready for people to come up to me and say, oh, can I have your baby and hold it? Like, that really always threw me. I'm like, no, why would I share my baby with you? I'm enjoying them.
Yeah. And they're only babies for, I mean, I'm not a big nurturing baby person, but they are only young for such a short time.
But yeah, so I probably had that sort of separation anxiety to start with in the early days. But as they got older and going to preschool and school, it was my second daughter who really had it. And even to this day, she still loves me to walk her up to the classroom and say goodbye and wait till the bell goes.
Get out.
Yeah, she does. She did it in preschool. She would cry when I'd say goodbye to her, and I'd say, when she came home, I'd say, you don't have to go. And she's like, oh no, I love it, I really want to go. But it was that absolute separation that really sort of caused her anxiety.
So how did you deal with that? Like, did you say, okay, well, at this time I'm going to be back, or did you have any...
Yeah, like there was always that thing, well, you know, mummy's coming back to get you, but I let her have it. I thought, righto, if she's anxious, I'll go with her until she's at that next step. And obviously she has to go into the classroom and the teacher takes over. But I just thought, do you know what? I'm making time for her to have that anxiety and for her to walk through it as safely and emotionally safe as she can.
And so did you have discussions around it, or did you just...
Yeah, because I'm like, what the heck?
This hasn't happened before, whoa!
You know, because my eldest was fine. My youngest clearly has no separation anxiety. But yeah, my middle one did. I'm not sure if it's because it's a middle child syndrome.
Oh, yeah, it's that syndrome again.
But yeah, were your kids anxious at any point?
No.
Or were they like you? See ya.
Look, and if they were, they never showed it.
Yeah.
You know, both kids went off to preschool and school relatively easy. They, you know, there's a time when, and my friends still laugh about it, when we'd say to Joshua when we put him into preschool, you know, after 10 o'clock, only teachers are allowed to be here, no adults. And he went up to someone and said, are you a teacher? And he went, no. And he said, you're not supposed to be here. It's after 10 o'clock. So, no, I don't think we have that problem.
I love it. But for all those mums who are struggling with it, we are with you.
Yes.
You will get through it, I promise.
What are we making?
A chickpea blondie.
A chickpea blondie! So the chickpea blondie, what it is it's the opposite to a brownie. So it's a blondie. A friend of mine came over for lunch last week and she made them, and I was just like, what are these delicious little cakes? And she said, it's like a brownie but a blondie. Very easy, and it's such a good little sweet for kids to put in their lunch boxes. Can you put the oats in here?
No!
Oh, you want to put the oats in? Oh, you wanted to eat the oats, okay. My kids love eating dry oats. It's weird. What's next? Yeah, can we put the chickpeas in? We'll put the chickpeas in. So chickpeas, they're canned chickpeas. I've rinsed them really well. And some vanilla essence or extract. Honey. You know a good way to do that is just spray it with a little bit of oil, then put the honey in it. But I didn't do that today. Okay, can you pass me that little spatula there, the white spatula again? Good job. Thanks.
Wet.
Huh?
Wet.
Okay, get the honey in there. And this is rice bran oil, just to give it some moisture, or you can use non-dairy butter or dairy butter, whatever you like. Now in here, I've got baking soda, baking powder, and just a pinch of salt. So you put that in there, and that is it, guys. We are gonna blend it. Now, because this is a batter, it's supposed to be thick, not overly runny. If you don't have a high-speed blender like I do, because I had to work it using this, yeah, so you'll have to use a food processor or something like that to try to get into a batter. Now, it's gonna look like this, as you can see. You will have some small pieces of oats in it, but once you bake it, you can't taste that and you can't see anything. Yeah?
What doesn't glisten something?
Oh, I'm thinking of putting some white chocolate chips on top, which is optional, but the kids really want it, don't you? Do you want us to put some on top? Now, instead of the chickpeas, you could also use white beans, okay? Okay, so there we go. Oh, great idea, wetting the spatula. So this is gonna rise just a little bit because of the baking soda and baking powder. I've put it in this silicone dish, baking dish. So Olive's gonna put some white chocolate chips on top. Momo, you gonna help us? This is optional, you don't have to put white chocolate chips. Put some on there. Just to make it chocolatey. That's heaps, I reckon. We've got heaps in there.
Can I have one?
Yeah, you can have one. So the Blondies are a success. Now, I was a bit worried because I hadn't made it before. Like I told you, my friend had made it for us for our lunch last week and it was amazing. And now I made it today in front of you. You saw how I made it. I was a bit worried, but it turned out awesome. We cut it up and everyone tried it here and everyone has to agree that it was moist and delicious. You don't need to put the chocolate chips on top, the white chocolate chips. It doesn't really need it, but it adds to it. It's moist and soft and so good. Please try it. It's such a good one for the kids' lunch boxes and for even your own. 330-itis, I get it. If you need a bit of a good, healthy push, have some of this.
That is all that we have got time for today. It was good to have you. We would love for you to join our Mums at the Table group on Facebook. And we also got a magazine you can subscribe to. Just $15 for the year. That's it. We'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.